Hey, good morning.
Morning.
Morning. Just turning on the chat here. There we go. All set here. All right, 9:15. So let's get started. Again, this is what I do every morning. Look at some pertinent news. What we've got this morning is that CPI came in already at 8:30 this morning. Came in pretty much as predicted. Wanted to see at 8:30, did we get not much of a reaction on SPY? Well, I guess it was a couple dollars. There was a little bit of a wick up and then a close. That candle closed below PDC. So read into that what you will. Oracle stock jumped yesterday after a strong earnings report. So that was pretty much the only thing that I saw in the news this morning. As mentioned, the CPI numbers came in. I get rid of this. Okay, I'll reorganize that later, I guess. And here we go with levels. So trading view. I forgot to set it to the 30-minute and resize everything, so I'll do it as we're here. Again, always looking room to the left of where price is at the moment. So let's go to the 30-minute time frame. Price is right here. As far as looking to the left, there's some room to the left. We weren't there since early trading yesterday. So below the low here, we could see a wick down and then the continuation move up, because this was a strong move up here, but then we saw resistance at this level. So these are pertinent levels of what I'm looking at: below the low of day and above this blue line that I've got indicated here, because this was a line that showed support and then resistance, and then it chopped around here for a while. So we're still having difficulty making new highs above here. So I'll be looking at those levels on Apple once we open. 30-minute time frame on AMD. AMD's been chopping around this area, having trouble finding a direction. With that being said, if it were to come down below this level here, actually, I'll move this alert. If it were to come down below here, I'd be interested to start looking at it, because there would be room to the left, to the higher side. We chopped around here yesterday. So unless it makes it above 206 here, maybe I'll put an alert. If it makes it above 206, then I'd like to be alerted. Other than that, we'll see what happens in the first half hour. Amazon, here we go. So Amazon's been in this range here. I already have an alert. If it breaks the top here, then I'll start looking at it for a possible long or short. And as far as the low, there's no room to the left. Maybe at S3 over here, that's what this is right here. I might look at it, but there's not a lot of room to the left. Yes, we were there yesterday morning, but there's definitely a lot of orders sitting below S4 here. So how about we move this alert that was not triggered yesterday? We'll move it here. So I've got a few on Amazon, Google. Not a lot of room to the left above high of day. And as far as below high of day, I think I'd wanted to take out the alert that I've got right here. So for me on Google here, it would have to hit the extremes. And I guess I can put an alert to the top side here. Be a $2 move from where it is right now. So alerts are set here from yesterday's high or close to it, and close to yesterday's low as well. I might move it up a tiny bit. There we go. So if it takes out yesterday's low and then shows support there, it might be a long. If it does not show support there, then we might be making it down to this level, 30175 area. This seems to be an area where we had wicked down, then it was resistance, and then resistance again, and then it looked like it consolidated here before breaking out. So we could be making it back down here. So that's what I'll be looking at. Meta, we're on the 30-minute here. Meta, it's very choppy. Nothing above here and nothing below. Not really interested in Meta. That's just on a usual basis. I'm not that interested. That's just me, though. I don't like how it trades. Microsoft, to the top side above here, there's not a lot of room to the left. We broke down this area yesterday, put in a big 30-minute fair value gap, and now we've just been chopping around this area. If it were to come down around here, we can see by my dotted line here, it touches a lot here. I'll put a horizontal. Why is it not working? Alt-H. Probably 10 of them will show up now. No, I don't know why it's not working. I'll do it with this. There you go. It works with that. And let's move it around. So that's what I like to do. I like to move it around and see where is it touching. Well, right around here. Right? Touches there, wicked up here. And then it's touching here, touching here, touching here, came close to it down here. So this is definitely an area of interest. As far as the upper side over here, like I said, there's no room to the left. I'm not really interested. So if it were to come down to this level, I'd like to be alerted. So there's an alert on that. As far as the upper level alert, I can leave it on for now. Nvidia, that's a 30-minute time frame here. Zoom in. So Nvidia, I'd be very interested to see what happens above or close to yesterday's highs, because there is lots of room to the left here. So this would be a very, very interesting level. As far as below, not really interested. Maybe I'll bring this closer to here. It did touch over here, the dotted line we can see here. It touched again, and then it became support here. So if it were to come down to this area again, it'd be interesting to see how the market reacts to it. Tesla on the 30-minute. As far, whoops, I don't need that anymore. We used it yesterday, so delete. Above the levels where we are now, there's no room to the left, as we were just there yesterday. If it came and touched this rectangle here, it would be very interesting. And below, well, there is some room to the left below the lows here. So if it were to come down, this would be an interesting one. I'm going to put an alert right around here, probably going to get triggered right at the open. But this would be an interesting area. Because this was the breakout, the retest, and then the continuation. It could be an area of support, but if it loses it, it could make its way down here again. Qs on the 30-minute time frame. Been chopping around. I'd be interested to know what happens in this area. It was resistance. It was again resistance yesterday. Let's see. Alt-H works this time. I already had a line there. That's not what I wanted. I want to put an alert. There you go. We have an alert there. And to the low side here, a lot of room to the left. This is yesterday's low. I'll be watching it. I don't need an alert. This will be a very interesting level. Hopefully it doesn't happen right away because I don't like trading in the first little bit. Let's give it a half hour, let it chop around, and then wick down and possibly move up to the highs. SPY 30 minutes, we're okay. Very similar situation on SPY. Let's do this. Similar situation. It touched S3 in pre-market, which was yesterday's low. Can it do it again? I'd like to see. I don't really need to set an alert because I know I'm going to be watching it. As far as the upper range is concerned, no room to the left until we make it all the way up to yesterday's high, which could happen. It could take a while, make it up here, and then see what happens up here. I'm going to move this to this area right here, knowing that it's not really a line. It's wider than that line. And then we'll see what happens between those levels. We could look at NQ. NQ did this similar thing as the Qs yesterday, made a high to a previous high and then rejected. Rejected from there, and then aftermarket tried to make it up, and then finding support at this level here, right? That is S3. That is a strong support level, or often a very strong support level for futures. So we'll see what it does at these levels once the market opens. Actually, I'm going to slide this over here. If there are questions, comments, please don't hesitate. I did not take a trade yesterday. I commented that it just looked like very sideways trading. Later on in the afternoon, especially on Qs and SPY, we did see a rejection. Let's make this a little bit bigger. We did see a top here, but it was very difficult to trade, especially on the time frame I like to look at. I like to look at the 5-minute. It was absolutely a level of interest because it had been a level of resistance right here. It had touched and then touched again. But first of all, I wasn't at my computer at this time. I wasn't trading at this time. And it did not give an entry signal that I would like. This engulfing candle here and then the retest here could have been an entry. But I mean, trading at, what time was this? At 2 o'clock. Right, so engulfing retest of this level, it's probably very close to, just from this range to this range, probably 50% retest, and then entry on a bearish candle. This is somewhat of a bearish candle. It's got a little bit of a wick, but once it made new lows here, this is where a lot of people jumped in. Stop above the level. This would have been, to here, a very easy 3-hour trade. Right, but not according to my rules. So, and I don't like trading at that time in the day. But these setups appear all the time. I wanted to mention very odd behavior pre-market for Meta. I saw it on something else as well. This is when we see gaps like this, it just means that there's very little interest. Usually you want to see candles, full candles forming, but when you see these tiny little candles, it means that no shares were traded, even in Apple here. So right now it's very low volume. So we'll see what happens. I'll be sharing my thoughts once the market opens, but I do not plan on taking anything until something shows up to the levels that I described, usually after or close to the first half hour. So if there are any questions, please don't hesitate and put them in the chat. I'll make sure to have it open this time. There we go. And if anybody wants to jump in and share their screen, we had Evo doing that yesterday. Please don't hesitate. This isn't just about me and sharing my thoughts. And for those of you who trade the open, good luck. And if you guys haven't done it yet, I watched Amal's YouTube video. Is really really good. It's really pushing me to get back into futures, out of options, and maybe not completely out of options, but concentrating more on futures than options. The time decay on options is incredibly annoying in this market. When we've got quick moves, it works out really well. But in sideways markets, it's just incredibly difficult. Trading view alert on Amazon. So big push up on Tesla too. The $3 push up, in 10 seconds. I don't know if anybody knows, but does Amal ever join in the morning here or in the other room? I've got a question for him. And there we go. A lot of my alerts going, all of them to the top side. This seems like a liquidity sweep on Nvidia. Too early for me to take it. And the stop would be too wide. Let me make it a little bit bigger. And especially when the move wicks up really quickly like this. But again, it's not my setup unless we close a 5-minute candle. And but interesting price action here on Nvidia. Let's put the tape for Nvidia. See, don't have a lot of orders to the buy side. The book definitely seems heavier on the sell side. Difficult to short at this level. 185.20 was a strong level. PDC is right there. Wow. There news on Tesla? Oh, I hope somebody got that move. You have to be a scalper to get in. I mean, in 10 seconds, it had moved to $3. So definitely. And how do you take this long or short right now? Just chalk it up as one that I missed. Not really missed because there was no entry. Nvidia looks very interesting there. Oh, there's them all. Very interesting candle setting up on Nvidia. Incredibly difficult to short with such a massive wick and candle. But just the way it popped up and rejected, it looked like we had trouble finding buyers over here, or there were just a lot of sellers. If it does go down, be looking for pre-market low as a target. If it tests a below pre-market low, it might be going down to yesterday's low. There would definitely be, oops, some possible support over here. So what happens at the low? Low of that candle, 184.95. What happens at 184.95? If it hits it. And 184.77 is previous day close. That's all I'm looking at right now. Similar candle on Meta, but Meta has very low RVOL, 32%, which is why we saw these candles over here. Nvidia, the book seems heavier on the sell side. Definitely not an indication to short, just sharing what I see. I personally would not short it because it's too difficult to figure out a stop. It's too wide. That's the thing with the first 5-minute candles. This is an interesting setup on Apple when it puts in a strong bullish candle like this, but then breaks the high and then rejects it right away. This could be a lot of trapped buyers over here.
Good morning. How's it going?
Hey, hello. How are you, Tarek?
I'm good.
Good. What are you looking at?
I'm looking at gold short. I'm in gold short, actually. And I had eyes on the crude oil. The crude oil, it's been selling for the last 2 days. Every time in the US session, it starts selling in the beginning of the session. It seems like we're getting some head news or something. But it's too exciting for me to participate.
Yeah, I had drawn this range here from a while ago. I'm not quite sure why I'd drawn that. I just know that it's there, and we left it there. At S3, which is often an area of support, especially when we're in a higher range. So from yesterday, you look at the previous day and it was higher. So that's why we have a higher range here. S3 is often, not always, but often an area of support. Yeah, we'll see what happens with gold over here. Did you say you're in a short?
Yeah, I'm in a short. I shorted the 51.83.
51.83. 51. Come on. Oh, right there.
It was a reverse ABCD setup on the 15-minute and a 5-minute opening range on the 5-minute.
Yeah.
So all the setups were like were set on the 1 minute. It showed consolidation, then it lost the consolidation.
Yeah.
And retested. So I felt a lot of things are lining up together.
Yeah, I'm just looking at this, the low from yesterday here. And then this morning, it came and touched it, to the penny. The low was 51.69.10, 51.69. So 10 cents between the low here and the low here. So this for me would be very interesting. I'm going to set a level here. This level, I want to see what does it do here, right? Is it support again? If it is, if it shows a lot of buying here, I mean, it might reverse from there.
Reverse, yeah.
If it loses this, then we're healthily on our way to S4, I think.
Yeah, I'm keeping an eye on this 5170 something. I think this is the one you're talking about, Gilles.
5169. Let me just see exactly from the low yesterday. 5169.
Yeah, I'm keeping an eye on the same thing. It needs to break. If it breaks, it will go to 5120, 5130 like this. Let's see how things will line up.
Yeah, this is a very interesting candle on Tesla. I don't like that there's a wick at the bottom, but this is a strong rejection signal. This line here was a line from previous support and resistance. However, I would not short after a monster candle like this. So that's me. There's no way I would short this. Even if it printed as a true kangaroo tail on the cans, it is now above R6. So I do not short above R6. If it consolidates here and then puts in another one of these a little bit later on, then I might consider it. Back to the 5-minute on everything. Tesla, yeah, 126 R-vol, which is decent. Approaching pre-market high on SPY. We've already gone above pre-market high on Qs. So the likelihood of this continuing higher than pre-market high is good, in my opinion. If you take into consideration the Qs and the fact that we've got green candles on everything, the market is more green than red. Oil is still oxy's still high. Do I have oil over here? Yeah, what's happening with oil? Oil futures pulled back from the crazy tops we saw a few days ago at $120 a barrel. So we've pulled back. Actually, let's look at it over here. Yeah, we're just chopping around here. This is something that, I mean, you have to have very strict rules because anything can happen in this market. I mean, we can have massive moves if anything pops into the news, either good or bad. I mean, if you're shorting and all of a sudden an announcement comes in that a deal's been reached in the Middle East, I mean, this thing will go down. Sorry, if you're long.
Yeah, it will go back to 60s because it doesn't belong there. 85, that's really expensive.
You're saying 85 is expensive for oil?
Yeah.
Well, considering that we've been before this conflict, we were chopping around the 65 area for a while.
Yeah, because this is the kind of like the price everyone's looking at was towards the 60s. Yeah. And it used to chop. There's a $19 ATR before the conflict.
Yeah.
So if the conflict gets resolved, that we're going back.
Well, there we go. Yeah, but I mean, this was the first day. It wicked out a lot of people, but if somebody had been patient and long this, I mean, I can only imagine. I think I calculated, what was it, 35, or I calculated an entry here, and it was 35. Was it $35 or It was a lot more than that actually to the tops, but I think that was I calculated it before it reached the highs here. So anyway, yeah, there's money to be made in here if you know what you're doing and if you have proper risk control.
And even before the conflict and everything, I was looking at the ETFs. I have a list of ETF basket that I look at every week. The USO was looking exceptionally good on a weekly chart. And unfortunately, I just missed it. I missed taking it.
Yeah.
That was a long time before it was bottoming. And that was the game. I think this kind of people who made the money.
Another very interesting candle on AMD. However, it is above pre-market high. I know I give a lot of reasons not to take trades, but that's how I trade. That's how I protect my account. AMD is also above R6. It did wick into an area that I had mapped out. So let's see what happens over here. On the 5-minute, it put in a very long-tailed reverse hammer. I was just going to say, I mean, if it does break down, it could absolutely retrace to the R4 area. But again, this is a difficult trade to take because your risk is pretty high up. Right, that is a big candle. The range is $2. So you need 6. So you need to get back to the low of yesterday or below the low of yesterday here to get 3R if you put your stop above the wick. Nvidia is becoming way more interesting now. If there was a lot of selling pressure, let's put Nvidia over here. Yeah, now the book is very balanced. Large order at, I need to do the print screen to slow it down. Yeah, 186.65. Tesla on the 5-minute time frame is interesting. Keeps wicking above there. Below 408. This thing could come back down. And it could come back down hard unless buyers step in. Let's look at Tesla book. Important to note, obviously not all the orders are on here. This is very limited information here, but it gives a glimpse. It gives an idea. And we're seeing some reversals here. What will happen at 408? $408 is below R6. And then when we start selling a little bit, you see big spikes up. A lot of volatility in Tesla right now. Interesting price action on Nvidia as well. Nvidia below 185.82. Could see a drop. Printed below 82. It seems to be holding. And there's a bit of a drop. Could be trapping some sellers. Yeah, that was a pretty interesting price action on Amazon as well. AMD, that kangaroo tail right here. Just hard to place a stop on this. So it's not a quick move on Nvidia. What's going on with your gold trade? Oh, it went all the way down to touch this 4.
Yeah,
Were you still in it?
I took the last piece out a little bit too early. 160, 169, 168. But it's okay. I'm happy with it because it was like, I don't want to hold it for a pullback. If it pre-dusts and fail, I would take it again.
Yeah, so it broke down. Once it broke down below here, came all the way down, touched S4. Depending on how this candle closes here, this could be a strong reversal candle on S4 for the long, possibly. Actually, I'll be back in just a minute. Yeah, I think we suckered a lot of short sellers below this wick on Nvidia. Similar price action on Tesla. Right? Again, that's right. Well, it didn't make a new low. Right? Didn't go below 408. Meta's RVOL is too low for me to take that kangaroo tail, but this is one of the setups that I like. Might still work. PDC is very nearby though. AMD finding possible support at previous day, pre-market high. I just saw that question. What is a webinar that I talked about for futures? I'll post the link over here. It was Amal talking about his strategy, and it was a very good webinar. Where's the link? Oh, that's not it. There you go. That's the link to the yeah, you're welcome. That's the link to his futures trading webinar. I'm very curious in Nvidia's price action right now. See the large 63,000 shares at 187. Did we hit 187? No, we hit 186.96 earlier. So what do we do at 187? There's also 187.04, another 21,000 shares. Speeding up. Oh, what's it going to do there? Does it continue? Does it reverse? I take my time, look at it, see how the market reacts to it. You know, a scalper would be, you know, getting in at 186.50 for the break of 187 because it's likely to go get these orders. And when I say likely, it's not a prediction. It's you know, it's 50-50 chance. Well, it's probably a little bit more than 50% that it's going to go get those orders. But there needs to be interested buyers at 187. Right? Every transaction's got two sides. So somebody's got to want to buy 187 for the move up to 187.50 or 190. And if nobody's interested in buying at 187, then the market maker needs to go down lower, needs to go find interested buyers. So that's my alert on Google. That's a nice stepping up over here. We're approaching yesterday's high. Going, that's the alert there. Right. There you go, 187, and then punched right above it. And now the book is very highly stacked. Again, we got to find some buyers. Are people interested in buying at 187? Well, Google's making new highs. Apple's making new highs. Meta making new highs. Tesla's just continuing on. Q's and SPY. Makes me wonder if there's news. If anybody knows something, let me know. One of these days, I need to subscribe to Benzinga or freaking Bloomberg Terminal or something just to get the news as soon as it happens. All right, that was a nice punch up. So what do we do? Are we making it to yesterday's high on Qs, which is closer than SPY? AMD's putting in not the best looking of double tops, and just consolidated here. It didn't really come from far below, but I mean, it was at 203, made all the way up to 209.21. Similar rejection in Meta, Microsoft, Google. Very interesting wick on SPY. I am bringing up the SPY puts. They have already. Be very curious to see how this 5-minute candle closes here on Qs and SPY. Had SPY candle closed red and had shown a lot of selling pressure right here, even though PDC's right there. I mean, if it had broken down below here, very unlikely that PDC, if there was strong selling here, because this candle does show that there was selling, it might have been a good short. Again, it closed green. The body of the candle, the kangaroo tail candle, is not within the range of the previous candle, so it's not my setup. The double top on Amazon here might be interesting for some people. It might be a signal to short back to PDC. Amazon 1 minute. I'm going to bring up. It is showing some 1 minute selling. Still low RVOL on SPY. Low RVOL on everything except for AMD, Nvidia, Tesla, and Qs. We have seen some low RVOL days. I think there's a lot of unknowns in the economy, in just generally in world affairs. A lot of unknowns. So a lot of people want to hold out on putting risk on. And so do I. Let's bring up that gold. Right to S4. And right to that level that I had drawn earlier. Definitely an area of interest. We found buyers here. So if somebody has a strategy to buy as soon as it touches, and I know people that do, as soon as it touches S4, stop right below, and move up to possibly R4. First target would be R3. Well, it would be high of day, which is difficult to tell with futures. But we are already making new highs. But yeah, first target would be R3 and then possibly R4, which was yesterday's high. Can I bring this over? Yeah. Good to know. I don't know if anybody is involved in anything. I'll be here another 20 minutes till 10:30. Right, we can tell that there's a lot of indecision. Wicks to both sides here on Meta. Same thing with AMD. Right, wicked up and then wicked down. Like Avi often says, it's important to know who's in control, buyers or sellers. And right now, I can't see who's in control. Maybe for Tesla. Tesla was the one that was obvious right at the open. The buyers were in control. But in everything else, even Nvidia, buyers seem to be in control, but it's wicking to the top. Right? We had some wicks here until we broke 187. Then 187.50 seemed to be resistance. An Amazon short that I was actually very seriously considering. Don't like it. R-vol was at 46%. Actually, it was lower than that when I was looking at it. That might work. Or might have worked because it's too late now. The entry's gone. Let's bring it up here. Amazon, 5-minute time frame. This is the candle I was looking at here. Let's put a short here just for interest sake. For me, I would not have put the stop all the way up here because it would have been too far. Maybe 50% of that candle, or maybe right at R4, or maybe right at the previous candle here. It's difficult to tell. But again, for 3R, oops, you got to make it down to S6. Right? Unless right, you put your stop way tighter, but way riskier. Right? This trade I would take for sure. However, I wouldn't take it for sure because I didn't like the wick on it. It's too far. Your stop should be at a place where it's obvious that if it takes you out, it means that you're wrong. Well, stop being right here doesn't mean I'm wrong. Stop being here or even above high day, then yeah, it's absolutely wrong. It's reversed. But if it comes back to this area, this is definitely just a pullback, right? You could just be selling, pull back to this area for the further move down. So yeah, that's what makes an entry on something like this more difficult. Hopefully that makes sense in the way that I look at it. And I want to see who's in control. But with a tight entry, maybe above just a wick of, what was it, 215.89. Let's put that back up. Stop at 215, 215.90, 92 here. Your 3R is right here. And yeah, it's a little bit below previous day close. So let's leave that there for now and we'll look at it. I call that forward testing. And I do it all the time, constantly looking at the setups that I like taking and putting in pretend trades, documenting what worked, what didn't work, where was PDC, where were the levels. And I think it's a good exercise, especially for people that are new to this. Look at these wicks, right? This is no man's land, especially with 59% R-vol and a pre-market that looked like this. This is not surprising. Now the market just looks like it's paused and it is waiting for, I'm looking at SPY here, just waiting for news or something. And there isn't, as far as I checked earlier, there's no news coming out. Look again. Oops. 10:30, I had nothing. Yeah, nothing of significance. Crude oil inventories at 10:30 that might have an impact on CL. Curious to know what the 402 calls on Tesla. What was that move like this morning? Expiration, not today, Friday. 402.50. From 6 to 16. That's quite the move. I thought it'd be more than that though. It's only 150% move. Seem to be going sideways now. In Apple, in Nvidia. Nvidia RVOL has come down. Look at this. The only thing that's significantly high is Tesla. Did anybody hear? Was there news on Tesla this morning? One hour ago, Tesla China made EV sales jump 91% in February. So I guess there was news. Tesla said the sales of electric vehicles built in China went up a lot in February, thanks in part to low comparative base from the year before. Last month, the American car company sold 58,600 Model 3s and Ys. And from Shanghai, sales in February were 15.2% lower than in January, even though they grew strongly every year. So that's likely the news that pushed Tesla up this morning. Just for information purposes, I got that from looking at Tesla and just clicking down here, right here. Not the absolute best place to get news because it's not usually very quick, but it is a really good point of reference. Again, we're chopping around previous day high, pre-market high and pre-market low in SPY. I don't like taking trades in there, especially with low RVOL. It's possibly why it is low RVOL, because I'm not the only one that sits out with the Qs. We are above the pre-market high. So a lot of people might have taken this long for the move to previous day high. Amazon is also inside this zone of chop. Microsoft is giving back everything it gained right at the open. Tell that there was a lot of selling pressure over here, just with these wicks. This is not a good sign for people wanting it to go higher because we're seeing a lot of rejection over here. It's pushing up, but then we're having either trouble finding buyers at that price or people are selling. People are selling. People are not moving their bids up, right? They're holding out. So the algos and market makers need to bring the price down. At the end of the day, everything we're seeing here is supply and demand, is what people are willing to pay for a product. And that product is the stock. Obviously, it's a little bit more complicated than that, but bottom line, that's how I see it. Making new highs on Nvidia, approaching a very interesting level. We could not pop out of Nvidia of 187.62. But if we look at the book, it's heavily stacked on the ask, which is bullish. So for some people, the strategy would be to go long on the break here. I never take the breakout. I often look at a retest. Some people might say that this was the retest, and we might be punching up here. But with your stop below here, or a really conservative stop of even below PDC, right? That would be a swing trade strategy. See, now we're balancing out. Now we just flipped, right? Anybody see that? Right? We were super heavy on that, and that's why I like recording these, right? Especially for my students that are learning how to read the tape, that we were super heavy on the ask, and then it just cleared out. There are no large orders. That's what these are highlighted for, right? For large orders. And then it flipped, and we had very large orders on the bid, which is more bearish. And then you can throw in there looking at actual price action and looking at where price is being taken to or where it's being transacted. Right? Are we just sucking in some sellers here and trapping them for the next move up? Maybe, right? Market makers and algos need to go where the liquidity is. We need to go get orders. Right? And there are a lot of buyers around this area. So let's get them and then move up, possibly. Yeah, we're seeing a pullback on almost everything. Yeah, the current 5-minute candle on everything is red. But still very low volume on everything. I don't like trading when it's low volume. It's riskier. Let's look at that Amazon trade that I was talking about earlier. Back to it. There's the target. Right there. But with a really tight stop. Right? If the stop had been more conservative up here, then you wouldn't hit 3 until over here. Right? And for me, this is way too much for a stock with an ATR. I don't know what the ATR is on this. It's probably like $5 or $6, maybe $7. Or it might be more than that. Let me look into it. Never know. This might pan out. But definitely with your stop above the previous 5-minute fair value gap here, this would have hit 3R right around here. Oh, would have been a good trade. In what? Sign this case 15 minutes. Apple approaching a very interesting level here of pre-market low. There's room to the left as far as it hasn't been there since the beginning of trading yesterday, or the first hour of trading yesterday. So we'll see what happens at this level. How does the market react to it punching down below here? What's pre-market low? 260. Right now, 260.01. There we go. So we punched below it. Now we wait and see how does the market react to the fact that we broke 260. Yeah, the only one I wish I had taken, it wasn't ideal. Just I didn't like that super long wick, but in hindsight, above the 5-minute fair value gap that had formed right around here, right, just above 216, would have been a nice entry on Amazon. But there are a few things holding me back. PDC being right there. But then again, when I look back and see that we had printed pretty much the same candle on SPY and very similar on Qs, would have been a good trade. And oh, the other thing was RVol. Right? Those are all things that kept me out. All right, so approaching 10:30. I don't know if there are any questions, comments before we cut out. I don't know if somebody else is coming on at 10:30 or later. Google is also struggling with this level. 310.62, 61. So we just punched above it. What does the book look like? Low RVol on that as well. Hard to short something that's gone up this much this morning. And there's my alarm. Okay, so I'm going to cut out. Thanks, Oliver. Have a good day, everyone. Hopefully, if you're in something, thanks, Derek and Shane and whoever else is on here. Thanks, guys. Good to know that I'm not talking to myself. All right. Cheers, everyone. Good luck. Low RVol. Very, very difficult for me to take anything in these conditions. So you know what? Hopefully you guys are profitable, and I'll be back tomorrow. Hopefully the market will be better tomorrow. I'll keep looking at it, and I've got some alerts set, and we'll see what pans out. If I take anything, I'll share it tomorrow. All right. Cheers, everyone.